What is going on, guys? Another video, another day, another car. This one actually came on the back of a tow truck, maiden voyage, first drive, K-24 swap, and there was a few small things forgotten, like the valve lash, valve lapping, and valve stem seals. And as you can probably imagine, the things you forget are the things that fail, so they let go, and she is pouring oil out the exhaust, I might add, out the exhaust. So we're going to pull the head. We've got a couple of days to do it. We're going to pull the head, new stem seals, lash, valve lap, check everything else while I'm in there, give it a clean up, get some of that oil out of the intake and whatnot, and go from there. So I'll take you on a little tour around the car. So 1991 EG5 Civic with its lovely grey interior, Australian delivered. Sneaky wideband down there, Recaro seats, classic stripped rear interior, the old K-tune billet shifter in there too, Type R wheel, pretty standard stuff. And over there you can kind of see it, Haltech Platinum Pro, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Old K20Z1 head on a K24 block, complete OEM build, nothing forged or anything there, nice and simple. And we're going to pull this off in the car. So a little bit of a mission, pain in the ass with the timing and stuff because there's no timing chain stopper on the bottom there, but we'll get it done. Pull her apart. So you can hear it, all of the pressure is escaping out of the cylinder, showing basically full leak down. Yeah, it's not holding any pressure at all. So there's only two reasons that'll happen. It's either coming past the valve seats and the valves themselves, or most likely a little bit open there. That is me for today. Sun's going down. Whoop. Yeah. So, get the timing chain, timing cover, all of that stuff off. Tensioner, exhaust, intake manifolds are off. All the coolant lines bar one at the back, which is just for the heater matrix there. And tomorrow morning I'll whip off the cams, rocker assembly, pull the head, and get started on the lapping, valve seals, and a bit of porting and polishing as well. Just clean it up a bit. Yeah, actually going to have to go over the entire car after this. The engine mount was hand tight. There's a missing bolt on one of the chain guides for the oil pump as well. I need to confirm with whoever built it. It's not meant to be there, and it's not actually just chilling out in the sump. I don't want to pull the sump if I don't have to. Hopefully they just forgot to put it on. And yeah, it's all this crap out. So that's it for today, guys. We will get back into this in the morning. lapping the exhaust valve. Number 1 cylinder, first valve. Kind of looked at it, thought, oh, sitting a little proud. That's a little bit weird. I lapped it anyway, just to see, and let's have a look. It's over there now. What I do, I dropped it. So first off, you can kind of see the difference there. Good valve, bad valve. Only minor, but you do enough of these, you start to notice the small things. And if you have a look on this valve, there's a small section here that isn't dulling up like the rest, as it should. Now a dull ring and a dull surface of the valve seat will indicate that it's got a full seal all the way around, and as you're lapping it, it's cleaning and grinding both surfaces equally, smoothly, and creating a good seal. And you notice just here as well, at the end of the valve that I'm pointing with, there's it's a shiny spot. Now that means that the valve isn't cutting into that. It's not lapping it properly. So you go like this. I'm not sure if you can see it actually. Very, very slight bend in it. It's not going to focus. Just chuck it back in the hole. Best representation of this is, let's grab a torch, ram it up the hole. There you go. Cooked. And for reference, the second valve is lapped. And try and get a view of that light. Without any valve spring in there, it's sealed. And we'll go back to this one. And that is not sealed, and that never will. And no, you cannot straighten the valves. You can't just put it in and hope the heat and everything straightens her out. It's not going to happen. So that's the reason that we do all these basics. We make sure everything's clean, tidy, and to spec. everything back together, back on the ground, full of coolant, full of oil. It's been running for about 5 minutes now, and you can see the smoke has definitely died off quite considerably, but hopefully water's coming out now is just residual from when it was dumping it into the intake. And see a little bit of smoke still coming out of the where the dipstick goes. A little bit of pressure there too on both sides, which kind of makes a little bit of sense. This PCV valve I've got out to try and eliminate the fact that if that was the cause and it was ingesting through the PCV, it's not going to just do it again because the PCV valve is a little bit suspicious. I'm going to chuck the dipstick back in, chuck the intake back on.
Alright, so first drive after reconditioning the head. Car feels good initially, like it feels real clean, real crisp. The extra torque is definitely there from the 2.4 litre bottom end, and everything feels good. Until probably about here, and I get a pretty big backfire. It starts under engine braking, it starts feeling quite hesitant, and then taking off from here as well, having to give it a little bit more than usual, and that's when I kind of figured something's not quite right here. So I take the next left to get home as soon as possible because it starts to feel like more and more underpowered. Yeah, so we just fast forward this little bit here. And then literally meters away from my driveway, it just cuts out. All power gone, done, dusted. So anyway, after a little bit of cranking, it obviously clears that oil back out of the cylinders. We get it fired up, moved up the drive, and yeah, that's the first drive of the reconditioned head, so it didn't quite go to plan.
Might be chilly. Alright guys, so went on that drive, got back, she's smoking something fast. She still smokes pretty fastly. As you can see there, yeah, it's a lot, and it's really hard starting as well. It's stalled coming up the drive, so got to do the basics. I'm going to roll up there, we're going to do a compression test, and we're going to do a leak down test as well, and see what the go is. I mean, albeit after the drive, it did clear up a little bit, so it might be a little bit premature, but we're going to go through the steps. You can feel, well, I can feel that hesitation. Might just be dirty plugs, fouled plugs from all the oil passing through again. So I'm going to go through compression test. I'm going to do a leak down test. I'm going to check and clean the plugs. She runs dirty rich on throttle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a base map from a K20A type power motor, which I believe that's this head, and just do a revision on the VE table for the 2.359 cc's or whatever the K24 is. Nice and simple, and then just kind of chuck it back together depending on what the results are from those two initial compression and leak down tests are, and then baby it around the block, see if we get some results out of that. Yeah, let's do it. So that's gonna call it. She still smokes like a train. Like, we done the valve stem seals, cleaned everything, fixed that valve as well that was leaking, or was bent, sorry. Cleaned out the intake, cleaned out the runners, got rid of all the carbon buildup and everything. All the valves are now cleaned, and she's still smoking like a chimney. So we had the PCV valve removed just in case that was the cause of the oil in the intake, like pressurizing the crankcase and pushing oil in and then ingesting. But now the issue that is quite prominent is the fact that there is oil in each of the cylinders. Like, it's equal across the board, and it's a good amount of oil as well. And obviously when you see it driving and stuff, it's pretty bad. So I'm thinking for it to be in all of them, it's not going to be the head gasket, because that's just been retorqued, and I know for a fact that it's all sealed, so that's all good. It's not a head gasket issue, which runs us down the bore, given that the head is now clean, good, sealed, everything. Running down into the bore, that could be our piston rings. Maybe the scraper ring is installed upside down, which in fact would be scraping oil up the bore and on top of the pistons. That's a possibility. Our piston to wall clearance could be wrong, so the machine shop could have gotten the piston to wall clearance wrong. Could be too much of a gap, allowing too much oil to come and sit on top of the pistons. There's like a multitude of things that it could be. So really, next up, we're just gonna have to pull the whole motor, put it on a stand, tear it down. With the work that I've seen so far, it's gonna make me more comfortable to pull it right down to a bare block, get the crank out, and we'll start from scratch, measure bearings, measure the pistons, measure the taper, piston to wall, just the works. We'll start from scratch and see if we can find out why. Hopefully it's really evident when we do pull it apart, and it's like we can just see, well, there are no piston rings, or the piston rings are upside down, or they're damaged, something like that. Like maybe the ring gaps are like hugely out of whack. Yeah, but that's going to be our next step. So unfortunately we didn't get it quite solved, but we did fix a few things that needed to be kind of attended to anyway, so it's not all negative. And yeah, in the next one, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be pulling the motor and going through, doing a full diagnosis, refresh, and yeah, give her a new lease of life, hopefully. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you got any suggestions as to what I should be looking for, and you think you know why it is smoking like it is, chuck that in the comments. That'd actually be a huge help. And yeah, again, thank you for watching, and yeah, have a good one.